Part 21. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 201. In an instant, the guests and hosts were enjoying themselves. Eat and drink enough. Bo Chang and others left Sichin Palace. Just walked out the door. Walter Yang and Dan Hung were approached by Ching Ni. I heard that it was the pilot who was flying in the air when he went to rescue Ching Ni. There is a pendant left behind in Huixing port. Ching Ni wants to find it back and return it to Yukong, so as to repair the relationship between the two. Yes. The relationship between Qingni and Yukong is a little tense. The key point is, Qingni wants to become a pilot, but Yukong doesn't want her to become a pilot. This is where the conflict arises. Today, Qingni piloted Xingcha without permission to perform emergency repairs on the sky. It also made Yukong very dissatisfied. Even though it's late afternoon. But it's still a long time until the break. Walter Yang and Dan Hung accepted Qingni's commission and headed back to Starport again. Bo Chang, Zilua, March Chi, and others did not join in, but went to the place where musical instruments were sold, preparing to buy a bass to take with them. Anyway, Bo Chang has a storage bag now. 10 cubic meters of space can hold a lot of things. The previous Erhu was taken out of Pascal's belly by Bo Chang and put into the storage bag. As for why not put Pascal in it? Because that robot is too big, it's better to stay at the Chen Chen Inn. With Silva's help, Bo Chang chose a good base. The question of paying. Naturally, it was still a waste of time. Although the Black Tower asked Esta to give herself 10 million credit points at once. But since Tian's mansion reimburses it, why do we have to pay for it ourselves? Bo Chang confidently accepted the gift of the Luofu immortal boat. Silua then took everyone to the square where he often performed. Although this place is not as big as the central square in Changelshan, there are still a lot of people there. Perhaps due to the street performances in the past 2 days, Silva is quite popular here. Several people greeted her when she arrived. Really? People with excellent craftsmanship are popular wherever they go. Silva was first. Bo Chang and others followed. After walking not far, Zilua stopped and said, I usually perform here. Bo Chang, will you accompany me or play the erhu by yourself? Let's go with you, I've already bought the bass anyway. Bo Chang reached into his storage bag and dug through it. It didn't take long to find bass. Then pull hard and pull it out of the yellow storage bag. This scene looks like Doraemon taking something out of his fourth-dimensional pocket. Bai Lu just glanced curiously. The little dragon girl who owns a gourd is not envious of this thing. Her precious gourd has a huge capacity. The surrounding Xianzhou people were not surprised when they saw it. Isn't it just a space prop? You can buy it for a little money, but it's just a little more expensive. Everyone knows this. No fuss. March, Sing, are you just watching? Silva was holding the black guitar and was ready to perform. Even if it hasn't started yet. A group of people spontaneously gathered around. This made Bo Chang feel a little bit of pressure. Fortunately, the bass in his hand gave him a little confidence and prevented him from stage fright. Just when Bo Chang took a deep breath and adjusted his emotions. March 7th said, we don't know any musical instruments, so of course we can only watch from the side. This is called eating melons and watching a show. Bo Chang, you have to perform well. I will record it for you. Saying. The pink-haired girl picked up the camera. Bo Chang ignored March 7th. He looked at Zilua and said, how about calling Pella and Link here later? Just use the teleportation ring. It was easy to call the drummer and keyboard player. Silva must have summoned Para and Linko to assist in the performance last night. As for why Bo Chang knew. Of course it's because all teleportation rings are bound to his hand. So when there is a transfer request between different rings, Bo Chang could sense it and even cut it off. This is why. The reason why Bo would suddenly think of Silva before going to bed and send her a message. They should be inconvenient now. Silva shook her head. The daytime of Luofu Xianzhou is the night of Yali Luo 6. According to the communication with Pero last night. Now this time. Perla should be having breakfast and getting ready to go to work. Okay. Bo Chang nodded. The two then began performing together. With the addition of a bass, Silva's music is richer in depth, heavier and more powerful. Sounds like that to a layman. The bass seems to be the same with or without Bo Chang. But for Silva, the melody of the bass is like a direction sign, giving her a clear direction to move forward, so that she will not suddenly let herself go while playing. Chapter 241, The chest is broken by a big stone. More updates. The Luofu ferry boat is very lively at night, especially in various squares. Under the illumination of white street lights. Street performers appeared one after another. When Bo Chang was playing with Zilawa, he even caught a glimpse of Sushang and her artist best friend Gui Na Ifen. Now Bo Chang doesn't know Gui Na Ifen's name, but he only thinks she is a passionate girl. At this time, the performance of the song ends. Silva decided to take a break. With the payment code in hand, Bailu, March Chi, and Scene walking around the edge can also take a break. Originally the three of them were the same as Kinke. They were all prepared to listen to music nearby. However, after discovering that many people gave money, the three of them had other ideas in their minds. Different from ordinary artists. Zilawa did not prepare a payment code or a bowl for collecting money. As a result, many people did not know how to give money after listening to a rock song, so they could only take out some cash and throw it on the ground. There are even passers-by picking them up secretly. After March 7, Bailu and others discovered this situation. Obligingly, he took out his payment code. Silva didn't care either. She went out to perform and wasn't looking for money. A blonde lady from the Landau family. She is a rich young lady herself. The few million credits he took with him when he went out were enough for Shiluwa. After all, Belloberg is isolated on a small planet all year round. As a result, credit points are very cheap. One Winterfell shield is equal to 50 credits. As long as you spend 100,000 Winter City shields, you can get 5 million credit points. This is for the eldest lady of the Landau family. It's just watering down. Bailu and others are helping to collect payment. As for Kinke, after listening to rock music for a while, she hurriedly left with the teleportation ring. He said that he wanted to give this thing to Master Tebu. Oh, it's quite easy to make money. March 7 said with a smile. I just walked around with the payment code, and thousands of credit points were credited to my account. The combined income of Seeing, March Chi, and Bailu just now is probably tens of thousands of credit points. This is almost comparable to the average monthly salary of Xianzhou people. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 202. That's not all thanks to Bo Chang and Zilawa's skills. Bailu said, taking off the payment code on the top of her head. Because of lack of height. So the little Lolita from the dragon tribe can only walk in circles with her payment code on her head. She happens to have a dragon horn, so she can just hang it up a little, which is quite convenient. Scene nodded and said, yes, you see there are not so many spectators next to the others. Is it possible, that it's because you guys are good looking? Bo Chang complained silently in his heart. Whether you are an artist, internet celebrity, or celebrity, you have an inherent advantage if you have good looks. After all, no matter where you are, there are a lot of face control. March 7, Star, Shiluwa, and White Dew are very attractive in themselves. If these people get together, there must be many people watching the fun. And Bo Chang is not bad either. It can also attract a wave of female fans. Coupled with the two people's technical skills, the onlookers couldn't help but burst gold coins like crazy. Bo Chang took a deep breath, put down the base, stood up and looked into the distance, saying, "There are so many artists here, I have never been to the square at night before, I really haven't seen them before. Such a grand occasion." In the casual square, there was an endless flow of people, adults with children, couples in pairs, and large families going out. It can be described as a bustling crowd. Street performers large and small were mobbed. Bakane's side has 3 floors inside and 3 floors outside. Extremely eye-catching. Zillawa shook his head and said, "There were not so many people yesterday. As the Star Core disaster is lifted, everywhere in Luofu Immortal Boat is in the process of stable recovery. There should be more people tomorrow." Bo Chang said this. Suddenly I heard the sound of gongs and drums coming from a distance. Don't miss it if you're passing by. Dear fellow villagers, today I, Gui Na Ifen, and my good friend Sushang are here to perform a chest-breaking performance for everyone. People like to watch the excitement. No matter where you live, you are bound to this custom. Bo Chang stopped performing here. Many people rushed towards the place where Gui Na Ifen performed. The distance between the two sides is not very far. Bo Chang saw Gui Na Ifen at a glance. It was a girl with long orange hair and golden eyes. She wore a high slanted ponytail and wore a dress with red as the main color. At this time, Gui Na Ifen was playing gongs and drums. March 7th stood on tiptoes and looked over. "I seem to have heard Sushang's name, isn't she Yunqi? Why did she start acting like her chest was broken with others? I don't know. Maybe I got off work and found some part-time job to make money, or maybe I was asked by others and couldn't refuse." Bo Chang expressed his guess. March 7th continued, "Is Sushang the one with the hammer? Because I'm not tall enough." The pink-haired girl stood on tiptoes and could not see Gui Na Ifen. All blocked by passers-by. "Ah, I don't know, but I feel that Gui Na Ifen is the one with the hammer." Bo Chang blinked. March 7th wondered, why? Bo Chang, because Gui Na Ifen has already picked up the hammer. There are too many people. Even though Bo Chang was tall, he couldn't see where Sushang was. So obviously, most likely, Sushang had already laid down on the stone slab, ready for chest crushing. Bai Lu tugged on Bo Chang's clothes and said, "Can you hold me? I also want to see the big stone in my chest." "Okay." Bo Chang said, hugging the little Lolita of the dragon clan. She squinted her eyes happily, and Bo Chang glanced at her. "March, seeing, why don't we get closer and take a closer look, Bar? Silva, do you want to come over, or rest here for a while?" Bo Chang added one last sentence. As the lead singer and guitarist, Shilawa still has a hard time. "No need, this is a good place. If I leave, someone else might take it when I come back later." The blonde royal sister rejected Bo Chang's kindness. Seeing this, Bo Chang had no intention of forcing anything, and left with Yu Chi, Xing, and Bai Lu. Silva just took out the water bottle and drank some water to soothe her throat. Walked through the crowd, relying on being fast enough. Bo Chang came to the place where Gui Na Ifen and Sushang were performing and took a good seat, just as he had just thought. Li's big pillow was already lying on a long, low wooden table. He was also holding a long stone slab in front of him. Gui Na Ifen holds a mobile phone holder in one hand and a hammer in the other. It seems to be live broadcast. Bai Lu looked at Li Dajhen, whose pupils were trembling, and said, "Bo Chang, Sushang seems to be very scared. It's normal to be afraid. After all, high attack and low defense are the norm. Stacking attacks is always easier than defending. What's more, the stone slab held by Zhencheng Suchang was also quite thick as 1 or 2 fists. It is impossible to break the stone slab without some force. Stop flattening your chest. Bo Chang muttered in his heart. Chapter 242, Go out for a walk. The lighting in the square at the center of Xingshaha is not gorgeous. Under unpretentious incandescent light, countless artists are trying their best to show off their talents. This is a scenery that cannot be seen on Yali Logo 6. It is a bit like the ancient times before time travel. But Luofu Xianzhou keeps pace with the times. Many people will also broadcast live on the internet when performing on the street, so that more people can watch and reward them. This feeling of blending modern and ancient times. It makes Bo Chang feel a lot, as if he accidentally walked into the live broadcast location of the army of internet celebrities before traveling through time. Suchang and Gui Na Ifen here are not just two people. There are also two lion dance dogs next to them. One is a big dog and the other is a small dog. All of them are the Diting style that followed Bo Chang and others for a period of time. The big one is used to check in props. The small one is used to hold the bowl and collect money everywhere. These two ingenious creations containing Xianzhou technology are not cheap. It can be directly explained. Dina Ifen is a rich woman. The girl with orange-red hair is not verbose. She is ruthless and doesn't talk much. Seeing that there are enough onlookers around, she swung the hammer and smashed it down. In an instant, firelight appeared on the hammer. Gui Na Ifen's move was very fierce, and the three words fast, accurate and ruthless were fully demonstrated in her. There was only a loud bang. At the same time, the fire splashed. The huge stone slab also cracked. Because Bo Chang's dynamic vision was relatively good, the iron hammer that flashed in the eyes of others seemed to be slow motion in his eyes. Suchang's trembling pupils kept staring at the hammer in Gui Na Ifen's hand. When it was about to fall, immediately tighten the muscles and hold your breath. This is a little trick to break the big stone on the chest. It can make it easier for the person lying below to remove the force of the hammer. Of course, this alone is not enough. The person who takes action must have enough skills. It is required to hit the target with one blow and stop after hitting. Otherwise, even if Suchang is a cloud cavalry, she will feel pain for a while after being hit by such a hammer. But the stone slab was gently pressed down. Then it bounced up from the chest and cracked. Bo Chang clearly saw that the steamed bun in front of Suchang quickly changed shape in the air and then pushed the stone slab open. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 203. It seems that the pair of white slimes were crushed quite a bit just now. Now that they can finally take a breath, they immediately return to their original water drop shape in the air. Bo Chang muttered in his heart, although it's not collapsed to the third level, it's not small either. That seems to be fun. Xing's face was full of curiosity. Bo Chang glanced at the gray-haired girl next to him and said, "That's not fun. If you're not careful, your chest will be crushed flat." "Really?" Xing showed a surprised expression. San Yuqi said unhappily, "He's lying to you." Bai Lu, who was held in his arms, subconsciously looked at his flat chest. It was really flat. There was no need to worry about being crushed or anything like that. There was no such thing anyway. Breaking the stone on the chest was just a small project performed by Gui Na Ifen and Suchang. There were more performances to come. Suchang sat up and took a break. She found that this time was much better than the last time. At least she wouldn't feel so uncomfortable after the end. This breath holding is really effective. Suchang thought so. In a trance, Li Dajhuntu saw the smiling Ba Kane, as well as Bailu, Sanyuki, and Xing beside him. "Hey, hey, hey. Why are you here?" Suchang looked surprised. thinking of being seen by acquaintances while performing acrobatics. Lee Dajhantu felt a little embarrassed for some reason, and his face turned slightly red. I thought it was interesting, so I came to see it. Such aim, I didn't expect you to have such a refined taste. Ba Kame looked at the newcomer of Yunkai, who stood up again with interest. I don't know if it was the lingering sound of the stone breaking on his chest, or Such aim was a little embarrassed. The redness on her fair face lasted for a long time. I'm just accompanying my friends, so. Such aim waved her hand and explained a few words. Gui Na Ifen came over. Such aim, are these your friends? Yes. Such aim nodded, and then briefly introduced both parties, which was considered an acquaintance. Then Ba Kame and others did not continue to disturb them. They just watched Such aim and Gui Na Ifen perform acrobatics silently from the side. Of course, the main force is naturally Gui Na Ifen. Sushang can only act as an assistant, but she is quite good at lion dance, and it can be said that she is so happy that she is blurred. I watched it briefly for a while. I heard rock music sounding again in the back. Bo Chang and others came back to their senses. Sanyuki pushed him and asked, Shiluo has already started, shall we go back? The love option is turned on. Option 1, take Sanyuki and others back. Completion reward, get random props, from small matches to large star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, don't go back. Completion reward, Yandera's gaze. Note, watch your back. Option 3, let Sanyuki and others go back, and go out for a walk. Completion reward, physical fitness increased by 100%. Options 1 and 2 are within Bo Chang's expectations. But when he saw option 3, Bo Chang was indeed a little strange. The reward is so generous, is there any key plot going to happen? If you want to be safe. Of course, option 1 is better, but this time the option is different from the last time. It is not to get rewards by hurting others. It is not impossible to choose. After thinking for a while, Bo Chang still chose the third one. I want to see what the situation is. You go back to help Zillowa first, I'll go out for a walk and come back later. Bo Chang put Bai Lu down. Although Sanyuki and others were confused. But since Bo Chang had something to do, they would not force it. After saying goodbye, the little dragon Loli and others left. Bo Chang followed the system prompts and wandered around the square, waiting for the task to be completed. Walking in the square at night. Looking at people coming and going with different faces. Bo Chang only focused on the system task in his heart. He no longer had the heart to enjoy the scenery just now. The scenery that was originally interesting also faded a layer of color at this time and became mediocre. Bo Chang walked slowly. Since the reward this time is so generous. If it is not a welfare option, it should take some effort to complete it. I don't know how long I will have to wander around. Will someone come to attack me? If so, who will it be? Bo Chang didn't know, but he felt that the Luofa ferry boat should be quite safe now. As long as he didn't go to those dangerous places. He walked for half an hour relying on his intuition. Bo Chang came to the edge of the square. This place is close to the Sichin Palace. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on your 100% improvement in physical fitness. Bo Chang stopped and looked at the twinkling stars in the sky, feeling the warm current flowing in his body. I just felt happy physically and mentally. Take a deep breath. Bo Chang looked down and looked at the back of the lonely figure looking at the sky. Chapter 243 Yukong Sijo, you don't want to. This place is actually a cliff. There is no road ahead, only a long stone fence blocking it to prevent people from falling to the bottom of the cliff by mistake. It's a good place to see the scenery. Bo Chang looked at the lonely back quietly. Without saying a word. Yukong was looking at the night view, while Ba Kame was looking at her. He seemed to notice the gaze behind him. The helmsman of the Tianbosi turned around and said, "It's Bakame. Are you guys playing here too?" "Yeah, there's nothing to do anyway." Since he had been seen, Bakame walked to Yukong's side openly, put his hands on the fence, and looked at the twinkling stars in the sky. "Is helmsman Yukong going out to relax?" "Yeah." Yukong answered in a low voice. Bakame continued, "It seems that helmsman is worried." "Is it so obvious?" Yukong was slightly stunned. "Of course it's obvious." If Bakame guessed correctly, Yukong must be so distressed because Kingni wanted to become a pilot. After all, that kind of thing just happened during the day. Bakame just blew the wind silently. Yukong didn't want to talk too much to outsiders because of family affairs. They just chatted casually for a few words. Then he said goodbye. The love option is turned on. Option 1, please try to help Yukong, saying, "Yukong Sijo, you don't want to break your relationship with your daughter either." Completion reward, get a random item, ranging from a match to a star destroyer. Note, this type of item will. Option 2, let Yukong go, completion reward, the price of vegetables will increase, super double. This time, Bo Chang did not have the opportunity to choose. And looking at the description of option 1, it is likely that he will be free to play next. Bo Chang said, "Yukong Sijo, you don't want to break your relationship with your daughter either." Hearing this, Yukong stopped and turned around. "What do you mean?" "I already know about you and Kingni." Bo Chang stretched out his hand, "Since you don't want her to become a pilot, you must have your own difficulties. In that case, why don't you tell Kingni?" Bo Chang looked at Yukong quietly. Under the night wind, the soft hair of the foxman fluttered in the wind. Yukong sighed, looked at him deeply, and said, "You don't understand. I have the option of love in the starry sky." Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 204. I don't understand what's going on between you, but, hiding it is not good, right? Kingni is trying every means to restore the relationship. Can Yukong Sijo do nothing? Bo Chang pressed on step by step. Yukong knew about Kingni's search for the ornament. "Then what do you think I should do?" Yukong asked back. This question stumped Bo Chang, and he didn't know what to say for a moment. Yukong continued. "I used to have a longing for the sky like Kingni, and I also know what it feels like, sailing in the universe, surrounded by vast emptiness, and unimaginable wonders in the distance. Drifting like a lone boat in the sea of stars, some people call it loneliness, but we prefer to call it freedom. I can understand Kingni, but she can't be a pilot." Yukong said a lot. Then he rejected Bo Chang in a firm tone. "Is it really okay for you to restrict her like this?" "Yukong Sijo, I don't think Kingni will be happy." Silence. Yukong didn't speak. Bo Chang said, "Is there a possibility, the more you don't let Kingni become a pilot, the more she wants to become one? Maybe one day she will secretly drive the star raft away like now. Wouldn't it be more troublesome if she encounters danger at that time? I will keep a close eye on her." Yukong's eyes became serious. Bo Chang shook his head. "You can't control her forever." "Indeed. Kingni is still young. And Yukong is half buried in the ground, but it's just the racial talent of the fox people. So he looks young. How long can Yukong control his daughter like this? At most 100 years. What about after 100 years? Master Yukong, it's better to open up than to block. Maybe you let Kingni become a pilot, and when she is tired of playing, she will also honestly return to Tianbosi to be an idle clerk in the future." After Bo Chang finished speaking, he looked at the expression on the other person's face. Yukong had no intention of speaking. Thinking for a moment, Yukong said, "I promised others that I would not let Kingni become a pilot. Isn't it a bit unfair to ignore Kingni's own wishes because of a promise?" Bo Chang frowned slightly. Yakang's face remained the same, without any change. She just sighed softly. You have a point. I will have a good talk with Kingni when I go back tonight. Goodbye first. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on getting the props, the poisoned dagger, which is very poisonous. Please do not lick it. Bo Chang and Yakang's encounter. It was just a small episode. After completing the 2 small tasks, Bo Chang, whose physical fitness leaped to 96 times that of ordinary people, felt that his physical condition was better than ever before. I have done everything I can. There is nothing for me to do next. Bo Chang shook his head. Returned to the place where Zillowa performed. Then there was a boring performance. When everyone returned to the Yuchen Inn, it was already 12 o'clock in the evening. Dan Heng, Walter Yang, and others have also gone home. It is said that Yakang also agreed to let Kingni become a pilot. In short, it is a happy ending. Bo Chang lay on the bed and slept until the next morning. There was no accident during the period. Silver Wolf did not come to disturb. Bo Chang had a good sleep. What are you doing today? Why not take a good rest for a day? These days are really too busy. Bo Chang felt a little tired. In this case, it is better to stay in the Yuchen Inn. So he rejected the invitation of Walter Yang and others. Bo Chang simply took a nap. So, an accident happened. When Bo Chang opened his eyes dazedly, Xin was sitting by the bed. It was because of the appearance of the gray-haired girl. That's why Bo Chang woke up. Otherwise, he would definitely sleep a little longer. Xin, why are you still here? Didn't you go out? Seeing the gray-haired girl sitting by the bed, Bo Chang was a little surprised. Xin shook her head and said, I didn't go out. What about Sanyu and the others? They went out to play. Why didn't they take you with them? Bo Chang knew that the girls liked to go out together. It was quite rare for them to leave someone out. Xin said, I said I had accepted other commissions, so I was free to move around. Bo Chang blinked. Obviously. Xin had deceived Sanyuki and the others. I brought you breakfast, do you want to eat? Yes, okay, thank you. Bo Chang had never left the room in the morning. Naturally, he hadn't had breakfast yet. Xin said, it doesn't matter, we are a couple, it's right to do these things. Yes, that's right. Bo Chang sat up. Suddenly remembered something. Bo Chang asked, Xin, I have a prop to strengthen destiny here, do you want to use it? Chapter 244 Responding to the girl's expectations. In the quiet room, there are only 2 people now, without Sanyuki, Bailu and others to disturb them. The atmosphere is peaceful. Xin thought for a moment and said, are you talking about the footprints of fate? Yes. Bo Chang nodded. Everyone in the train group already knew that he had obtained the footprint of destiny. After all, it was not a secret. Xin shook her head. I don't need it. Really? I have to. Bo Chang did not expect to be rejected. The footprint of destiny is a treasure that is hard to obtain. Xin lowered her eyes and thought carefully. She raised her head again and said, I don't need it. You should use it yourself. Okay. Since Xin didn't want it, Bo Chang couldn't force it. He picked up the breakfast on the side, untied the bag, and glanced at it. There was soy milk, fried dough sticks and buns in it. Too much. Bo Chang glanced at Xin, and she replied, you have a big appetite, you should be able to eat it. Seeing this, Bo Chang tasted it alone. After all, it was Xin's good intention, and it was hard to refute. After eating, Bo Chang really held on. He patted his slightly bulging belly, stood up and moved his body, then turned his head and looked at the gray-haired girl who had been staring at him. Xin, do you have anything to say to me? Yes, Xin nodded and confirmed again, we are a couple, right? Yes. Bo Chang replied in an affirmative tone. Scene tilted her head, her beautiful gray hair swaying in the air, and said, Bo Chang, then, should we do something that only couples do? I searched on my phone yesterday. Couples will do more intimate things. The gray-haired girl looked serious. Bo Chang couldn't help but ask back, Scene, what is the more intimate fact you are talking about? I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 205. Like, a kiss or something. Star said this. There was no shy look on his face. The golden sunlight quietly penetrated into a corner from the window and sprinkled on the star's face, reflecting a dazzling light. Bo Chang's mood was not peaceful. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, knock down the star directly, completion reward, March 7's big bag. Option 2, take away Scene's first kiss, completion reward, mental power increased by 100%. Option 3, let's let go of the star first, completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. The appearance of love option is also expected. His eyes scanned the three options one by one. Bo Chang muttered. It would be great to overthrow the star directly, but why would March 7th give me a big pussy? She's not here at all right now. Bo Chang felt slightly helpless. Option 2 and Option 3, this requires little hesitation. Option 2. Bo Chang did not rush forward impatiently. Anyway, Scene was already prepared. Unlike March 7th, who needed a surprise attack, he said, I understand. Since Scene thinks so, let me respond to you. Look forward to it. Having said that, Bo Chang took a few steps forward and hugged Scene. She sat on the bed like this. Even his expression didn't change much. Only when close. It took Bo Chang to feel the softness of the gray-haired girl's body. This is the first time for a frontal hug. Bo Chang could feel the fullness of the other person's chest, which was beginning to deform due to the squeeze. How to describe it? There is only one word for pleasure. Scene's body, like other girls, had a faint fragrance. Bo Chang greedily sucked in the fragrance from the air and asked, I'm going to push you down. As for why it should be demolished. This is naturally not the content of Option 1, but Bo Chang wants to try lying down and kissing. After all, he had already kissed Silver Wolf while standing. After hearing the voice of the star, Bo Chang couldn't bear it anymore and lay down directly with Scene. He straddled Scene's body, then stood up and looked at the delicate face of the gray-haired girl. Slowly lowering his head, he felt the warm lips. Scene's hands also went up from the waist to hug Bo Chang, and the soft catkins touched his back aimlessly. This is almost a subconscious action. Even Scene was surprised. Why would you make such an action? The two kissed. The room was suddenly full of spring. As the clothes gradually became messy, even the sun was hidden in the clouds. Until the system sounds. Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on your 100% increase in mental power. Only then did Bo Chang stop. Propping up his body again, he felt that he still had more to say. Scene's face also turned rosy. There is a hint of shyness. Is this what couples do? It feels very interesting. Then we can do a little more. Scene took the initiative to help Bo Chang say the second half of the sentence. He touched her long, silky gray hair. Bo Chang felt at peace in his heart and said, okay, then we will do more in the future, but we can't let them find out in March, otherwise they will be disturbed. Well, I know, well, does she also like you in March? Scene looked at Bo Chang, who was close at hand. He thought for a moment and said, I don't know, it's possible. I don't quite understand what March is thinking. Indeed, March 7's heart is so complicated and unpredictable. The current relationship between the two can also be said to be in a very strange position. More than friends, not enough lovers. Bo Chang can force himself to do some unreasonable things. But if you want to go further, it's impossible. March 7th is not as calm as the gray-haired girl. You are mine. Seeing answered like this, and his eyes became slightly serious. Bo Chang said nothing. She just lowered her head silently, biting Seeing's red lips, and she responded greenly. Fierce fighting started again. The two made out in the room for a long time. Bo Chang also had a deeper understanding of the gray-haired girl's body. The star is indeed in good shape. Normally it's just blocked by the generous compassionate shirt. Just look over the white t-shirt and measure it with your hands, and you can feel it. Time slowly came to noon. Bo Chang and Seeing hugged each other and fell asleep. They were taking a nap. Intimacy is just a means of communicating feelings, rather than the subject. After having breakfast and making out with Seeing for a while, Bo Chang played games with her. When he was tired, he went down to have lunch, then changed into pajamas and lay down together to take a nap. There is something interesting about this quiet daily life. Bo Chang felt more comfortable than his improved strength. Just when the two of them didn't notice, an uninvited guest appeared at the Yuchan Inn and walked slowly towards Bo Chang's room, her steps steady. The goals are also quite clear. The visitor stopped in front of Bo Chang's door and knocked on the door. Chapter 245 I came at the wrong time. Hearing the sudden knock on the door, Bo Chang opened his eyes suddenly. Who? Could it be Sanyuki and the others? Wait, shouldn't they still be playing outside? They shouldn't come back so soon, and the knock on the door doesn't sound like. Bo Chang's thoughts were like lightning. He blocked the stars with a quilt and said, Who? It's me, benefactor. Kingne's voice came from outside the door. It turned out to be Yukong's daughter. It's a waste of worry. Why is she here? Forget it, as long as it's not Sanyu and the others. Bo Chang breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be Yukong Sijao's daughter. What's wrong? Is there anything you want to talk to me about? Benefactor, I've heard from my mother. Thank you for your advice last night. It gave me the opportunity to become a pilot, so I wanted to come here to thank you. Kingne's voice came through the door. Bo Chang said, It's okay, Miss Kingne. It's just a piece of cake. Besides, Yukong Sijao's behavior is indeed a bit inhumane. I should take action. While the two were talking, the gray-haired girl hiding in the quilt had already opened her golden pupils. Seeing, with a faint light in her eyes, was still holding Bo Chang. She slowly moved her body to make the two of them stick closer. Bo Chang suddenly became excited. The dividing line between being and harmony. Seeing felt something, so she looked up at Bo Chang. You still carry a weapon when you sleep? Seeing whispered. Bo Chang was shocked and quickly grabbed her hand. This is not a weapon. Don't be curious. If you are not careful, something will go wrong. Seeing. The gray-haired girl slowly typed out a few question marks. Although I don't know what the situation is. But since Bo Chang has stopped her, she didn't continue to ask. I wonder if the benefactor is free now. Kingne continued to ask. Bo Chang thought about it. I'm free, but, Miss Kingne, why don't you come in and talk? It feels weird this way. Okay. Kingne pushed the door open and walked in. Now Ba Kane has sat up, and Seeing is hiding in his arms. Since the two are very close, there is no need to worry about being noticed. When Kingne came in, Ba Kane also used his invisible hand to hide Seeing's shoes and clothes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 206. Hearing the foxman walk in. Scene was a little nervous. Bo Chang didn't care, even if something unusual was discovered. Possess the power of the monkey charm. Bo Chang can also easily turn Scene into a little hamster or something. It's just not necessary. And it was impossible for Kingni to come over and lift the quilt. I saw Bo Chang sitting on the bed. Kingni said, "It turns out that my benefactor was taking a nap. It seems that I came at the wrong time." "It doesn't matter, I'm almost awake anyway." Bo Chang stretched out a hand and said, "Sit down." Kingni sat down. The ordinary fox girl has no extra charm, more like the girl next door, which somehow makes people feel friendly. Certainly. Bo Chang now feels more like only one. That's the thrill. There was a girl sitting in the room, holding a beautiful girl in her arms. This feeling was really wonderful. The urgency of being discovered at any moment. Rang Xing's body was a little stiff. She didn't know why she wanted Qing and I to come in. That's it? We can only take one step at a time. Kingni spoke slowly. If my benefactor has time, I would like to take you to play in the center of Xingsha. Well, let's forget it. I want to rest at the Yuchen Inn today and have no idea of going out to play. Bo Chang refused directly. Kingni felt a little regretful, and then the two chatted casually for a few words, and then she left. When I left, I closed the door politely. Scene poked her head out from under the quilt and looked into Bo Chang's eyes. "Why did you let Kingni in just now? It feels so dangerous. If she sees me lying in your arms, Yukia might also know about it, and she will definitely not move an inch by then. If you keep following me, it will be very difficult for you to have this opportunity next time." Scene said a lot, but Bo Chang just replied, "Don't worry, Kingni won't find you." Seeing this, the gray-haired girl didn't hold on to this matter any longer. Anyway, Kingni really didn't notice it. Bo Chang and Scene continued to make love to each other, whispering together. Scene suddenly said, "Bo Chang, do you think I'm pregnant with your child now?" Bo Chang typed out a few question marks. As if seeing the confusion on the other person's face, Scene said, "I heard that couples who sleep together will have children." "Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet." Bo Chang showed a polite smile. "Xingdao, I think." "No, you don't." Bo Chang covered Scene's mouth. It can be seen from the system options just now. If Bo Chang pushed the star now, the result would be a big blow on March 7th. And then? What will happen on March 7th? But I can't tell. Huan, the last one who gave Bo Chang a hard time, maybe she still hates him even now. The wooden seal place was being built before. Huanwu didn't even care about Jing Yuan and Haida, and directly aimed at Ba Kane, which shows how angry she is in her heart. If it really causes a big fight on March 7th, maybe she won't be able to take care of him again for a long time. That kind of thing happens. Bo Chang will definitely feel lonely. After all, Bo Chang was used to March Chi being noisy around him, and he also had a very high impression of this pink-haired girl. Able to maintain relationships. Naturally, it is better to keep it going. Even without further development. It is also very good to maintain the current state. Scene also doesn't want to lose March 7th. That's why I hid it from her. Right now. Scene stretched out his sweet tongue and licked Bo Chang's palm. Just like a kitten. Bo Chang let go of his hand. Scene looked at him with big curious eyes, which revealed purity that was not contaminated by pornographic knowledge. "Why? What why? I want to give you a baby." Bo Chang looked at Scene, who was kneeling in front of him, with his breasts pressed against his chest, and said, "Why do you want to give me a child? It's a bit too early for us. The gray-haired girl still has a journey ahead. If Bo Chang got her pregnant, wouldn't she have to raise a baby? What a waste of time." "No. Absolutely not. The Star Core Hunter would definitely not allow Bo Chang to make Scene pregnant. It's really big, it would be strange if those guys didn't come to visit us. Because, isn't it normal for couples to have children? Scene looked at Bo Chang longingly. He shook his head and said, it's normal, but we have other things to do now. We can't give birth to a child, which will delay our journey. After all, you need to be pregnant for 10 months to have a baby. You can't do anything by then. You can only stay on the Star Dome train and watch me and Marge, Zillowa, and others go on adventures. Bo Chang explained. When Scene heard this, he shook his head repeatedly. Then I won't give birth. Chapter 246 Letter from Silver Wolf. That's all. After Bo Chang's efforts, Scene finally gave up the dangerous thoughts and no longer thought about having children. Bo Chang's gaze sank into the majestic deep ditch. When Scene was wearing a white bathrobe and it was against his chest, the scenery was absolutely beautiful. It can be said that the mountains are different from the front and the peaks are different from the distance. Just in a trance. Before Bo Chang made any move, Scene pushed him down and took the initiative to kiss him. Just try the intimacy between lovers. Scene was quite curious about this and felt very comfortable doing it. He didn't let go at all. Scene was very attached to Bo Chang now, which was a good thing. The two of them were so warm for a while. Then they put on their clothes again. Scene had no idea of being shy and changed clothes directly in front of Bo Chang. It was a feast for the eyes. Naturally, they had to move their hands and feet during the period. After Scene was out of breath, Bo Chang stopped with satisfaction. In the afternoon, Bo Chang originally planned to play games, have dinner, and wait for others to come back. As a result, he didn't play games with Scene for long. Silver Wolf suddenly sent a message. He said that he had found the coordinates of Huanlong and asked Bo Chang to take Scene with him to try to awaken her to protect her destiny. The Great Lord of Extinction has not left Luofu Xianzhou yet. This news was like a bolt from the blue for Bo Chang. He pondered for a moment. Bo Chang replied, even if Huanlong is in a weak state, it is not easy to deal with. If I fight her rashly, it will definitely cause unrest in Luofu Xianzhou again. Silver Wolf, don't worry, during the battle, I will help pull you into the alien space, so there is no need to worry about the impact on Luofu Xianzhou. Bo Chang, then what should I do specifically? Silver Wolf, if you pretend to be defeated by Huanlong, Scene can awaken to protect her destiny. Bo Chang, how can I pretend? That is the Great Lord of Extinction. I can only have the confidence to defeat her if I attack with all my strength. You want me to pretend to be defeated by Huanlong now? What if the fake becomes true? Silver Wolf, the Star Core Hunter will help you, and she is weak now, you should be able to do it. Remember not to kill Huanlong, she will be useful in the future. Bo Chang, oh, is that so? Don't worry, I won't kill Huanlong. Bo Chang, wait, what do you mean don't kill Huanlong? Bo Chang, why don't I know I have the ability to kill Huanlong? I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 207. That Great Lord of Extinction is very difficult to kill. Under the attack of two envoys, he was able to escape calmly. Bo Chang didn't think he could kill him. Silver Wolf, don't ask me. Anyway, Elio said that you have an ability to kill Huanlong, so let me remind you not to kill her accidentally. Bo Chang. The two of them talked for a long time and finally determined the details of the plan. The gray-haired girl was still playing the game at this time. Bo Chang said, Scene, how about we go out for a walk? Are you sure? Stop what she was doing. Scene raised her head, she felt a little confused. Clearly, the other party just said that he played at home in the afternoon. Bo Chang nodded and said, well. Okay, listen to you. Scene did not refuse. So. The two went straight to the industrial and manufacturing department. Now Luofu Xianzhou still has some restrictions on the travel of Xingcha. However, if Bo Chang and other nameless guests want to go somewhere, the Yunkai army will let them go directly and will not stop them too much. Sitting on the Xingcha, the person who drove the boat today was a strange cloud cavalry. Bo Chang and Xing sat in the back in a proper manner, quietly watching the ups and downs of the sea of clouds outside the window. It is said that Huanlong is now hiding in the Gongzhou division. She uses the remaining Jianmu power here and the power in the furnace to recuperate. It is said that the injuries caused by Haida, Jingyuan, and others have recovered a lot. This is the Gongzhou division. Xing muttered to herself as she walked down the Xingcha with Bo Chang. Gongzhou division is adjacent to Danding division. When Jianmu revived, the erosion here is also very serious. It is said that the roots of Jianmu have emerged directly from the ground. Bo Chang looked around and could indeed see a lot of traces. If it was not the house torn apart or the ground cracked, it would be much worse than Huanlong Suanzhen was hung. That was much worse. At the beginning, Huanlong Suanzhen was hung was very impressive. The area within 100 miles was overturned by countless vines. If this kind of power is used to cultivate the land, it is really too powerful, and even the deepest soil can be lifted up. Wait, why do I suddenly think of farming? Bo Chang scratched his head. Xing said, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking, what to buy later. Bo Chang smiled slightly. Gongzhou is rich in mechanical creations. The original Diting came from this place. Bo Chang also told Xing that he wanted to see the mechanical creations of Gongzhou, so he came here. The two of them walked around here hand in hand. The Star Core hunter could only confirm that Huanlong was in Gongzhou, but did not know the exact location. Silver Wolf told Bo Chang to let him take Xing to stroll here, and when the time was right, the Lord of Extinction would come to him. Speaking of which, for the Star Core hunter, although Bo Chang approached them with a cooperative mentality, he also knew that he could not completely trust them. He still had to be careful. Bo Chang now came to find Huanlong according to the other party's instructions. There are 4 reasons in total. First, to help Xing awaken his destiny. Second, to find Ting Yun. Third, Huanlong is the envoy he hopes to defeat. Fourth, Huanlong is in a weak period, and it is a good time to beat the dog when it is down. Gongzhou after the disaster. Many people are doing reconstruction work here. As craftsmen themselves, they also have experience in construction. Of course, the main reason is that Gongzhou often causes trouble. Either the caves and pavilions are transformed out of thin air, or the mechanical dolls riot or something. Bo Chang watched them skillfully carry out post-disaster reconstruction work. I just feel it is difficult to evaluate. Xing held Bo Chang's hand, she walked in front to lead the way, and looked around Gongzhou with curious eyes. On the other side, sitting on the ergonomic chair, Yinlang was looking at the screen, biting his thumb, and said, this guy. Bo Chang just took the hacker girl's first kiss yesterday. Today he took Xing's first kiss again. Seeing this scene, Silver Wolf was naturally in a bad mood. He really wanted to jump out and slap Bo Chang to wake him up. Suddenly he remembered what happened that night. Silver Wolf blushed again. Asshole, asshole, asshole. Bo Chang on the other side couldn't help sneezing. Xing said, did you catch a cold? Maybe someone is scolding me. Bo Chang answered very self-awarely. Xing blinked. It's not me. I know it's not you. After the two of them walked around the factory for a while, the system sounded. The love option is turned on. Option 1, keep going forward, completion reward, get a random item, from a matchstick to a star destroyer note, this type of item will. Option 2, enter the small path next to it, completion reward, attacked by illusion. Chapter 247, Lure the Snake Out of Its Hole. Bo Chang was stunned for a moment when he saw such an option. The answer given by love option is very simple. Bo Chang needs to keep moving forward to get the reward, and the consequence of doing so is there is a high probability that he will not be attacked by Huanlong. This does not count as a violation of the agreement with the Star Core Hunter. Anyway, those guys cannot be sure that Huanlong will definitely take action. It is just a possibility. In this case, what should I choose? Fight with Huanlong, or avoid fighting? Thinking carefully, Bo Chang finally chose the second one. Seeing, let's go this way and take a look. Bo Chang stopped and looked at the alley on the side. The gray stone floor inside was paved in an orderly manner. Originally, there should have been many craftsmen in this alley. However, the Gongzhou division is a bit chaotic now, so no one can be seen inside. Isn't there nothing in there? What's there to go to? Sean showed a puzzled expression. Bo Chang smiled and said, it is because there is no one that it is worth going in, isn't it? Looking sideways, frowning. Sean pondered for a moment. She stared at Bo Chang with her golden eyes, and said motionlessly, do you want to do what Cece did? Ahem, no, I want to take you in for a look. Bo Chang grabbed Sean's hand. He expressed his determination with action. Oh, so, let's go. Sean showed a gentle smile. For the gray-haired girl who often has a cold face. Suddenly smiling, it is still amazing. That face is like a perfect painting, with clear contours, fair and shiny skin, and a smile makes people feel a little more charming. Even the surrounding scenery seems to have lost its color at this moment. Bo Chang looked at Sean with bright eyes and white teeth, held her hand, and couldn't help but use a little force. Let's go. Bo Chang took Sean into the alley, which was quiet inside. The houses on both sides exuded an ancient atmosphere, and some of them had various signs hanging in front of their doors. Gongzhou is not only a place where craftsmen work. It is also a place where they live. And compared to Tabasi, the atmosphere of life here is more intense. There is even a whole commercial street outside. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 208. Specially for tourists to choose ingenious objects. The moment he entered the alley, a pair of eyes in the dark stared at Bo Chang, and he had discovered it through spider sense. But that gaze was always wandering around. And it seemed to be far away. Bo Chang did not want to alarm the enemy. After walking for an unknown period of time, the guy hiding in the dark finally couldn't help showing his fangs. Bo Chang could clearly sense the strong malice coming from behind him. It felt like needles were pricking his skin. Although he didn't hear any wind, he knew the enemy's attack was coming. Encountering this situation, Bo Chang did not dare to be careless. He turned around and instantly pulled out the oath gun from the storage bag and stabbed forward. If it was something else, Bo Chang might need to feel in the storage bag for a while to find it. The oath gun is not needed. As long as Bo Chang opens the storage bag, it will kill itself as soon as he thinks about it. The blue spear is out. Immediately collided with the uninvited guest behind him, making a loud noise. Bo Chang also saw clearly who the other party was. This was a fox girl with delicate and lovely appearance. She held a small palm leaf fan in her hand and easily blocked the oath gun. It should have been like this. But the next second, Bo Chang directly pierced the fox girl's small palm leaf fan and stabbed hundreds of gun flowers to force it back. Bo Chang knew without thinking. This guy is most likely a phantom incarnation. Who, seeing pulled out a baseball bat from behind, why are you attacking us? I didn't expect to meet two benefactors here. It seems that we are really destined. The black-haired fox girl landed gracefully. Hearing this familiar tone, Sean's eyes widened slightly. She took a closer look and found that the other party looked a little familiar. The fox girl gently shook the broken small palm leaf fan. After just a few slaps, it was restored to its original state. I don't know what this method is. Bo Chang said, Huanlong, why haven't you left Luofu Xianzhou yet? I didn't expect that my benefactor would guess my identity right away. I'm really flattered. Huanlong didn't rush to attack. Bo Chang was not in a hurry either. He still needed to wait for the silver wolf to pull everyone into the alien space. He couldn't just start fighting in the industrial and manufacturing division. Otherwise, it would cause huge losses to Luofu Xianzhou. As for why I didn't leave Luofu Xianzhou, I can leave if I want to, and stay if I don't want to. What does this have to do with my benefactor? Huanlong narrowed his eyes. The appearance of this fox girl was very similar to the huge Huanlong he had seen before in the Jianmu sealed land. According to the information revealed by the Star Core Hunter. When Huanlong discovered that Luofu Xianzhou had two envoys, Haida and Jingyuan, he knew that his chances of winning were slim. So he deliberately divided out a part of the Star Core and the power of Jianmu. Using the roots of Jianmu that the Gongzhou division had not yet cleared, another body was fabricated. It can be said that a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows. And this body also has the power of destruction and abundance. Although it is not as good as the body at the roots of Jianmu, but it is much stronger than the fake Tingyuan that was fabricated at random. However, due to the siege by Jingyuan and the Black Tower, Huanlong was seriously injured. She could not fully exert the strength of this body, and now it is much weaker than the original fake Tingyuan. Huanlong, how could it appear here? Xing's voice just fell. The next second, the surrounding space collapsed rapidly. The line of sight changed. Bo Chang, Xing, and Huanlong were instantly pulled into the different space by the silver wolf. This is a dark world, quiet, and weird. Huanlong and Xing typed several question marks at the same time. Faced with this scene, they were a little at a loss. To be honest, Huanlong really wanted to give Ba Kang a big slap for repeatedly obstructing and disgusting her. She couldn't stand seeing him and Xing appear alone. That's why there was this attack. Originally, Huanlong just wanted to harass Ba Kang. If she could fight, she would fight. If she couldn't fight, she would run. Anyway, she was confident that she could escape. Unexpectedly, she was pulled into a different space, which made her troubled. Ba Kang's eyes widened with anger, and he said, according to the script, "You are so good, Huanlong, you actually have such a method. Now I can't even use the teleportation ring. It seems that I can only fight you to the death." Huanlong. She was confused. She thought it was Ba Kang's hand. Now it seems. It doesn't seem to be the other party. Who could it be? Thinking that there might be someone hiding in the dark, Huanlong was alert. She was about to explain when she saw Ba Kang burning with flames all over his body, rushing up like crazy. Chapter 248 Naked Fight Huanlong, additional update. Originally, Huanlong thought she was a hunter. Ba Kang was the prey. Now it seems. Perhaps the mantis stalks the cicada, but the oriole is behind. Is my hand exposed? This is impossible. Who is hiding behind this? Haida has clearly left, Jingyuan can't have such a strange ability. Huanlong's mind was in a mess, and she had already thought of retreating. She was beaten up by 2 Lingxi in Lake Xianzhou. She was also very angry with Ba Kang. This body was Huanlong's last hope. If it was broken again, she would have made a wasted trip this time. If I had known, I shouldn't have attacked him, it would have been better to be patient. Huanlong looked at Ba Kang, who was close at hand, feeling a little helpless. She wanted to explain now, but the other party didn't give her any chance at all. It seems that we have to defeat him quickly and find a way to leave. Ba Kang's strength. Huanlong had seen it before. If Bailu, Walter Yang, Danhan, and others assisted, Huanlong really didn't have the ability to defeat him quickly. But now Bakane was alone, Huanlong felt that he could do it, as long as he was careful of the person behind the scenes. After all, that guy pulled everyone into the different space out of thin air. And he also made Bakane's teleportation ring unusable. Even if he was not a Lingxi, he was close to a Lingxi in strength. In the case of not knowing his ability at all, the threat is not small. When Bo Chang used the third-rated power of the dragon spell to rush out, Xing still stood there and tested the effect of the teleportation ring. She tried to contact March 7 and teleport away. There was no response. As for the reason, of course, it was because Bo Chang cut off the signal. In fact, the Silver Wolf's alien space did not have the ability to isolate the teleportation ring. It was found that the teleportation ring was really ineffective. Xing clenched the baseball bat. What should we do now? Can we defeat Huanlong by just the two of us? Unconsciously, cold sweat had seeped out of Xing's palm. Bo Chang had already fought with Huanlong at this time. The Spear of Oath stabbed out and clashed with the small cattail fan in the air, bursting out waves of white air. It was obviously not an iron weapon. The small cattail fan in Huanlong's hand could easily block Bo Chang's attack, and even if it was pierced, it could recover quickly. After 3 rounds of fighting, Huanlong felt something was wrong. This guy seems to have gotten stronger again. Bo Chang's strength has become much stronger than before. Now Huanlong began to doubt whether he had the ability to defeat the opponent quickly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 209. It seems that we can only take it slowly, or resolve the misunderstanding and let him know that there is someone behind him. The small palm leaf fan in his hand waved. A force of wind and thunder rushed out, bursting with a purple-blue light, forcibly pushing Bo Chang back dozens of meters before stopping steadily. Huanlong pulled away and said, "You first." The next second, Bo Chang used the third-rated power of the dragon talisman again, and a flame beam gushed out from the bottom of his feet, providing him with powerful kinetic energy, and rushed straight towards the enemy. The reaction force caused the skin of his feet to crack inch by inch. Fortunately, the power of the horse talisman repaired it, so there was no need to worry about causing too much impact. Bo Chang rushed over, with a painful anger in his heart, stabbing out hundreds of burning gun flowers, and the power of destiny poured out, even causing Huanlong's skin to burn. The other party was like a little sun. What Huanlong wanted to say was all blocked back, making him unhappy. It was said in the script given by the Star Core Hunter. Bo Chang absolutely cannot give Huanlong a chance to explain, otherwise it will have a bad impact on the fate of the awakening of the Star Queen. So, Bo Chang will not wait for her to explain. Damn, he won't let me speak at all. Huanlong was a little angry. Seeing Bo Chang coming in front of him again, he stabbed out many invisible flame gun flowers with his fangs and claws. Huanlong retreated quickly, shaking his tail while summoning a hurricane to blow herself up. She rode the wind, hurriedly dodged the gunshots, and swung the wind blade and thunder dragon to attack the opponent. Seeing this, Bo Chang simply sprayed out a fire lotus to destroy it. Fire, thunder, and wind mixed together. Let the silent dark space become lively. Bo Chang threw out a few more green leaves, creating several phantom clones, and killed Huanlong from several different directions. Each of them flew in the air, with the tip of the gun pointing directly at Huanlong. The two seemed to have been fighting for a long time. In fact, only a few seconds had passed. Xing calmed down and followed Bo Chang's footsteps. Huanlong fought and retreated. She was not good at physical skills. When she found that the opponent's strength had become stronger, she certainly did not want to fight at close range, but adopted the kite tactic. In the process of moving, Huanlong waved the small palm leaf fan in his hand. The whole person was like dancing, stirring the airflow here, and a bigger storm was coming. A moment later, tornadoes rose from the ground, and there were thunder dragons flashing among them. In the fierce battle, Bo Chang and Huanlong's figures were erratic in the air. It can be seen with the naked eye that many illusion clones were defeated and turned into a withered yellow leaf, and then crushed by the violent force. Xing could not catch up with the two, nor could she intervene in the battle. She could only use a baseball bat to defeat the attacking tornado and thunder dragon on the ground. Just like this. It made Xing exhausted. Bo Chang and Huanlong had disappeared in the tornado and thunder dragon. They were completely invisible. It seems, I can finally release all my strength. Bo Chang's eyes lit up slightly. Yes. For now. Bo Chang has not used all his strength. The hidden power is naked clothes. Starcore Hunter told Bo Chang that the best way to pretend to be defeated by Huanlong is when Xing can't see. But before that, Bo Chang must first seriously injure Huanlong to avoid any accidents. And now, the opportunity has come. Bo Chang used a 1-second stripping, and all the illusionary clones also took off their clothes. He only had a flame coat to help cover his shame, and some things that shouldn't be seen could be seen faintly. Huanlong was stunned for a moment. So cool. Wait, if they want to fight, why is he taking off his clothes? Huanlong came back to his senses. I just felt that my eyes were polluted. I understand. He wants to distract me in this way. Humph, you underestimate me. As the Lord of Extinction who roams the universe, what scenes have I not seen? Huanlong was calm. After feeling another invisible hand grabbing the wind wall defense outside his body, Huanlong said, "It's just a trick. As long as it's not a move that spews fire, I don't need to dodge at all." Then, Bo Chang's invisible hand easily crushed the wind wall defense on Huanlong's body. Lord of Extinction, huh? Messenger of Justice and Queen Killer and Naked Clothes. Critical damage x2 x2 x2. Bo Chang slapped it, damage x8. It would be fine if Huanlong could dodge. After all, no matter how high the damage is, it's useless if you can't hit it. Huanlong was arrogant and didn't dodge. He felt that the invisible hand was not powerful enough. There was no need to waste energy. Chapter 249 Crazy Criticism. When Bo Chang was fighting Huanlong, I rarely use the power of the Dragon Talisman, and usually only use the third-rated power when I need to sprint. After all, I am afraid that I will accidentally kill Huanlong. Especially after using the naked clothes, I need to be more careful. Although I feel that the power that the Starcore Hunter said can kill Huanlong is the power of the Sheep Talisman. Or it could be the power of the Monkey Spell, but the Dragon Spell is not impossible. After all, the explosive power is still very strong. Bo Chang naturally needs to be vigilant. At a distance of about 10 meters, Bo Chang used the Spear of Oath in his hand to sweep away the green tornado around. Several invisible hands grabbed up and grabbed Huanlong, who was protecting herself like a hamster ball. At this time, if Huanlong dodges with all her strength, there may be a chance to dodge, but unfortunately she did not do so. Instead, she was alert to Bo Chang to prevent him from getting closer. Then, the black and purple invisible hands tore through Huanlong's wind wall defense. It was as easy as inserting tofu. How could it be? Huanlong was horrified, and she wanted to run at this time. Unfortunately, it was too late. He didn't even need the help of the Starcore Hunter. Bo Chang grabbed Huanlong directly, and his hands, feet, waist, and even neck were all tightly controlled, leaving several finger marks on the fair skin. But Huanlong is the envoy after all. Even in this situation, she still had the power to fight back. Countless lightnings gathered on her body, and Huanlong seemed to have turned into a big light bulb in an instant. The dazzling white light almost blinded Bo Chang's eyes, and countless lightnings spread along the invisible hand. A tingling feeling roamed in her body. Bo Chang didn't feel very comfortable, and his movements froze and he couldn't move. Fortunately, his physical fitness had been improved to 96 times that of an ordinary person. In addition, the lightning transmitted by the invisible hand was not much. Then use the power of the horse spell to treat it. Bo Chang easily survived. Neither the elementary school student card nor the holy shield needed to be activated. After this shot, Huanlong also fell into a state of depression. The tornadoes that crossed the sky and the earth around him were still strong, and there was also the wandering thunder dragon that swallowed and spit out purple light. They launched a fierce attack on Bo Chang. Wind blades and lightning flew in the air, killing the enemy madly. Huanlong wanted to delay her steps so that she could successfully escape. After Bo Chang was electrocuted, the invisible hands still held the Lord of Extinction tightly. They didn't give him a chance to escape. But Bo Chang only had the last 3 invisible hands left to hold Huanlong. The power of the previous wave of attacks was really strong. Many invisible hands were directly broken. Bo Chang took a deep breath. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 210. Before the blue tornado and thunder dragon came, he used the third-rated power of the dragon spell again, rushed directly to Huanlong, and punched her chest. The granary that was originally full and tough. Under the increase of Bo Chang's 8 times critical strike plus the third-rated power of the dragon spell, it was blown up with one punch. Blood splattered everywhere, even falling on Bo Chang's face, but it was burned up before it got close. Ah! Huanlong screamed and flew backwards. The Extinction Lord, who was still a little depressed. It seemed to be awakened by Bo Chang's punch. More blue tornadoes and thunder dragons burst around, and a meteorite with a diameter of 1 kilometer fell from the sky. It was a big guy that Huanlong summoned from nowhere. Compared with the last one, this time it was much smaller, probably because when fighting with Haida and Jingyuan before, a bigger meteorite was consumed. It could also be that Huanlong is not in good condition now, unable to summon a bigger one. Xin looked up at the meteorite shining in the sky, feeling powerless. Damn, can't I do anything? No, I have to help Bo Chang, I have to help him. At this moment, the meteorite that was originally falling slowly seemed to have stepped into an insurmountable chasm. It struggled in vain to fall, but its position did not move at all. Instead, it added a small sun to this black space. Silver Wolf has taken action. Bo Chang took a look, and he rushed forward, regardless of the consequences, and launched a fierce attack on Huanlong. Even if there were lightning and wind blades in front of him, Bo Chang defeated him with just one punch. Huanlong's struggle was useless. He lasted less than a second. Bo Chang came to the knowledgeable Lord of Extinction again. Huanlong's body used the power of the Jianmu root system of the Industrial and Manufacturing Division, and it contained rich vitality. Bo Chang had previously punched the soft flesh on his chest. But now it has grown back. Even the clothes have grown back, covering the fruit tightly. The flaming fist attacked. Punch after punch fell. Countless blood mists burst out of Huanlong's body, her little skirt was torn to pieces, and her body was also missing pieces, but under the remaining Jianmu power, it recovered quickly. It was as if nothing had happened. Bo Chang thought to himself, I want to see how much Jianmu power you can use. Now, Jianmu is under the disposal of Luofu Xianzhou. It has returned to a withered state. It is completely impossible to absorb power from it again. The Jianmu power in Huanlong's body should be used less and less. Of course. The essence of Jianmu power is the power of abundance. Huanlong's body combines the two powers of destruction and abundance. It can definitely restore the power of abundance, but it is not as exaggerated as it is now. The speed of recovery through Huanlong's body. Bo Chang could tell her current state. Anyway, she could still fight. After being suppressed by Bo Chang for a short time, Huanlong, who was furious, simply used his fists and a small palm leaf fan to fight with the other party. The power of fire and wind and thunder exploded in the air. This dark space was constantly expanding to offset the powerful force inside. On the other side, the silver wolf who was holding the footprint of fate and stabilizing this space couldn't help coughing up blood. Scene was still struggling in the tornado and thunder dragon. These attacks could hardly hurt the gray-haired girl, but they successfully blocked her vision and divided the battlefield into two places. The fist-to-flesh fight between Bo Chang and Huanlong was quite fierce. If the hand was broken, use the foot; if the foot was broken, use the recovered hand, and even the head and teeth could be used. Life is endless, and the fight is endless. Whether it is Huanlong or Bo Chang, their hands and feet have been broken several times, but since both sides have powerful healing abilities, it is not a big deal. The two fought from the sky to the ground, and then from the ground to the sky. Huanlong fought with Ba Kane very tenaciously. He refused to admit defeat at all. At this time, Ba Kane had only two words in his mind: crazy. Huanlong really didn't like close combat. But this didn't mean that Huanlong couldn't fight in close combat. On the contrary, she was still very fierce in close combat. It was just that compared with the long-range output ability of the Lord of Extinction, her close combat was weaker. Chapter 250 That was my lost youth. Huanlong had already discovered. It was very difficult for him to defeat Ba Kane. If it weren't for this body being blessed with abundance, I'm afraid he would have been blown up by Ba Kane long ago. Huanlong wanted to defeat Xing on the other side quickly to threaten him, but unfortunately that guy was also a tough guy. It seemed that he was about to die. But he was still strong and would not fall down. Huanlong was almost numb. He wanted to divide more strength to attack the gray-haired girl. I was also worried that I couldn't stop Bo Chang's attack. Now it seemed like I had entered a dead end. Fortunately, Huanlong found that Bo Chang seemed to want to capture me alive. That's why I threw away my weapon and directly attacked her with fists, and didn't use powerful flames to hit her. If Bo Chang really attacked with all his strength, Huanlong felt that even if he had the blessing of abundance, he would have been beaten to death. After all, he was beaten with fists and burned to ashes. There is still a big difference between the two. Bo Chang wanted to capture Huan's actions alive. This is the last chance. Huanwu tried his best, and even used the trick of golden cicada to escape from its shell again. Unfortunately, Bo Chang had already been deceived once. Of course he would not be deceived again this time. The fist-to-fist fight lasted for more than 10 minutes. Until now, Huanlu could hardly hold on any longer, and the more she fought, the more desperate she became. Bo Chang's recovery ability is really strong. The feeling is stronger than the blessing of abundance. Even if Huang tried his best to leave some injuries on Bo Chang, he could recover quickly. How to fight this? Huanwu is now unable to fight and cannot run, or it is said that he does not want to run. If the Lord of Extermination really wants to run away, you can still run away. Since meteorites can be summoned successfully, this shows that this different space does not block Huanwu's teleportation ability. As long as she abandons her body, she can escape at will. Only Huanlong didn't want to give up this body. It took me a long time to come to Xianzhou. How could you leave in despair? The surrounding wind and waves gradually subsided. Whether it was a tornado or a thunder dragon, they all began to dissipate one by one due to the illusion of the main body. The dizzy Huanwu thought to himself, Is there no other choice but to run away? Defeat is decided. There is no use in holding on. It's better to leave early. Bo Chang could also tell that Huan Hui was reaching his limit, and his body's recovery speed was not as fast as before. So, while there are still wind and waves causing trouble around, Bo Chang finally asked, "Where is Ting Yun?" Ting Yun, he, I wish I could find my benefactor myself. Huan Hu still doesn't want to say anything.